Yep, good.
Okay. Decades of bloodshed, innocent civilians killed, and over 5 million people dead. I'm talking about the Vietnam War. Vietnam is a thin, long piece that extends across the east side of the southern peninsula of Asia and is directly south of China and east of Laos and Cambodia. It is now one united communist country, but was once separated into north and south portions. This is a picture of Vietnam. It was split right here, and the war went along it, and it also included neighboring countries, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and where Viet Cong and other soldiers would cross through it. The Vietnam War was a war between the North Vietnamese Communists and the South Vietnamese Democrats. The Communists being backed by the USSR, and the Democrats being backed by the United States. This war lasted longer than any other in American history. It cost the U.S. greatly both financially and militarily. It is estimated over $2 billion was spent. A total of 500,000 soldiers were deployed. Of them, 300,000 were wounded, and around 50,000 were killed. Over 11,000 not yet 20 years old. Both sides combined lost a total of almost 1.5 million, and wounded total over 2 million. Civilian casualties are estimated to be over 4 million. I have a picture here of some soldiers in a foxhole during the Vietnam War. Kind of tell the ruggedness of their faces and the difficulty they're having with the times, the troubled times they're in. This is an event that should be important to every American, as it is a large part of American history. I have done much research and studied deeply into the happenings of the Vietnam War, with sources such as How Stuff Works, Encyclopedia Britannica, and Modern American Poetry. I am here to convince you that the Vietnam War was an important, defining, and vital part of American history. We will discuss why the war could not be avoided, why those who died did not die in vain, why the Vietnam War successfully helped stop the spread of communism, and how it helped win the Cold War. Let's begin with why the Vietnam War could not be avoided. The strategy of containment. This was a strategy that demanded the U.S. and its allies to stop the spread of communism aggression into other countries. Some say the war was unnecessary, but it was needed to fight against communism. The spread of communism was a threat towards American freedom. Another reason is the domino theory. The domino theory was the idea of one Asian country becoming communist, then others would slowly follow suit. Eventually, communism would then be too large to defeat. If the war had not been fought in Vietnam, then it could have just as easily have been fought in other places such as Laos or Thailand. So many Vietnamese wanted to be rid of communist oppression. Many refugees fled the country to escape communist rule. Vietnamese people were eager to learn how to fight off northern invaders. The Viet Cong had no problem with killing civilians and often used children and women as suicide bombers, including women carrying children and bringing them to soldiers, pretending to hand them babies when they were actually grenades, and they would blow up. Secondly, brave American soldiers fought and died for freedom during this war, and it was not for nothing. Over 50,000 American soldiers were killed, and over 300,000 were injured. Much loss of life, but they did not die in vain. It is said that the Vietnam War was a great waste of life. No doubt about it. The Vietnam War and other events of the Great Cold War came at a great loss to all superpowers involved. The fact of the matter is that although Vietnam was lost, communism in the decades to come came to a screeching halt. Much because of the costly win of Vietnam, the USSR was broken up. The way it is seen is that many brave American soldiers gave their lives to stop communism, promote democracy, save our freedom, protect our rights and our lives, and end oppression and inequality. Not only were those who fought important, but the war itself. The Vietnam War was dynamic in bolstering the spread of communism. The Vietnam War was the last big win for communists. The communists lost a similar fight in Afghanistan, and their costly win in Vietnam weakened them. Although Vietnam is still communist, communism was contained, and today democracy is the dominating government around the world. The reason democracy is flourished is because of our victory of the Cold War. The positive effects it had on the Cold War include the USSR invested massive amounts of supplies and money into North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces to attempt to ensure victory. The United States and the USSR fought each other through smaller client states, preventing them to face each other head-on. Both superpowers continued to throw their weight around. However, the inefficiencies of communist government finally shined through, and the Soviet Union could not keep up with their debts and went broke, shattering the Union. We can consider these main points. The Vietnam War was an important, defining, and vital part of American history. It was unavoidable because of the threat that communism posed. Those who did not die in vain. They protected this world against the injustices of communist regimes. And although the Vietnam War was lost, it was a key point in winning the greater war against communism within the Cold War. There is a saying by Thomas Jefferson, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." For him it meant a fight against redcoats, but perhaps for us it can mean a fight against a red flag bearing hammer, sickle, and star.